Yes, I know, this video is super late. But in any case, this is the week 3 of the Festival Special Series 02. We do get quite a bit of reveals, and I think by this week, we should be getting the full reviews of all of the Festival Special Series. But then again, it's a little bit early, I would say. We still got like 3 weeks until this set is being released, but strangely everything is out already. That's very strange. In any case, let's move forward and see what was revealed in week 3. So for Dragon Empire, we have Seal Blaze Dragon Idam. Auto Rearguard Circle. When this unit attacks, this unit gets 5k power until the end of the battle for each arm on your Vanguard Circle. So this basically is Berserker support, so not really the flashiest support, I would say, because you know it's just a 5k for every arms, meaning that this could go up to 20k on his own. But then again, you might want other stuff rather than just have a 20k attacker, I would say. Probably a skip for Basagra. Moving on to Dark Stage, we finally have Greedent's Triple R, Desire Devil Dofund. And if you know the flavor text, it's basically just Dofund. Auto, when this unit is placed on Rearguard Circle from hand, if your Vanguard is Avaricious Demonic Dragon Greedent, you may Soul Charge 2. Auto Rearguard Circle, when this unit attacks, if your soul has 2 or more Greedent, Counter Blast 1, and this unit gets critical +1 until the end of that battle. Of course, from the 2 skill restriction, this is basically Greedent support. The 2 soul charge part, when he is placed on by the hand to Rearguard Circle, is actually quite nice and does kind of make space for your deck building, because we usually run stuff that basically helps you soul charge, for example Gunnaram as well as Crimson Expeller. Both of these 2 cards actually soul charge, which may sometimes be a little bit like clogging up your deck build a little bit. So I guess this one does helps you with those cards and does provide you even more benefit into building Greedent. The second skill does combo well with the rabbit, which is this one, Bubetsu, because whenever something moves to the soul, whenever Bubetsu is on the rear guard, you're able to Counter Blast 1 and call something out from your hand, and then if your soul has 10 or more, you basically draw 1. If you call Dofund by using Bubetsu skill, you can play that one Counter Blast and to give Dofund the critical +1. But then again, you need 2 or more Greedent in their soul, which might not necessarily be the case during your 3rd turn, unless of course you do manage to soul charge the 2 Greedents to the soul. Hey, it's actually not too bad. But then again, if that were to happen, it means that you will not be having the personal right, which might suck a little bit. This card does not really fix Greedent issue, because you know, Greedent, the whole Greedent deck at this point is very vulnerable to opponent counterblast deny you. Because if your opponent does keeps you at 3rd damage for the duration of the game, you're basically just hitting for 13k. I mean, of course 23k if you personal right. But then again, being stuck at 3 damage is not a good thing for Greedent, because you know you have to commit to keep on attacking with him, and then the more cards will be getting out from your deck, which is not a good look for Greedent. Although it does not really fixes that issue, but I guess Dofund is a nice touch. Only future will tell how good Greedent will get. Moving on to Bruce, finally some Bruce stuff. Diabolos Boys Nile continuous Guardian Circle. If an attack hits your Vanguard with Bruce in its card name this turn, this unit gets 15k shield. Yeah, defensive unit, like I mentioned before, they're not really good. And what's more, Bruce have to be attack hit, only then he's able to gain the 15k shield. I don't know, you're much better off running some other cards that basically give you more offensive power than defensive, because you know Vanguard is a game of offense. If you have a lot of offense, yeah, you're basically gonna win no matter how tanky your opponent is. But to give shield value to Bruce, although it's not bad, the problem is Bruce needs to be attack hit once. Only then you get the shield. But come on. There is no way I'm gonna put this in my Bruce deck. No way. Next, the Triple R. And she's a beauty. Diabolos Madonna Migan. Auto Rearguard Circle. When this unit attacks, if you are in Final Rush, this unit gets 10k power until the end of turn. It's a very simple skill. But that simple skill could mean the difference between your offensive power for Bruce. The plus 10k power is actually not once per turn, and the power does stays until the end of turn, meaning that the first time you attack with Migan, she's gonna get a 10k. And if you do restand and attack again, you get an additional 10k. This is equivalent to you drive checking a trigger, an extra trigger from your deck without actually drive checking into that trigger. if that makes sense. She is potentially 40k by the time she attacked the second time. Of course, this is only taking into account either you're using Hellblast Full Dive as well as Pandemonium Tactics. So she could go really huge. However, the problem with this card is that she is competing against Eden for the best attacker in Bruce deck, because Eden does gains a critical whenever Eden's restand, but Migan is just huge. One would say she is thick. I do love her, but more testing might be required for her to potentially be the best attacker for Bruce, but then again, I think most likely she is going to be because of how huge she will be. Moving on to Cater Sanctuary. Surprisingly, Cater Sanctuary does get an extra 2 more cards other than the 3 cards that was already being revealed for Cater Sanctuary, which is surprising. Tetrafavor Sorceress. Auto Rigor Circle. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, if this unit was boosted, cost Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1 to draw a card. Yeah, there's too many restrictions on this card. You need to attack hit, and you need to attack hit the Vanguard, and you need to boost this card. You need to pay 1 Counter Blast and 1 Soul Blast to draw 1. I don't think that's worth it. Okay, this card is just gonna skip. It's just too bad. It's just bad. It's just bad. Come on. I know it's a double R, but then again, whatever. Now this is the quality double R that Cater Sanctuary should get. Heavenly Slice of Calmness, Heathcote? Continuous Rigor Circle. If a grade 3 card was revealed for your drive check this turn, this unit gets 5k power. Second skill, auto. When this unit is retired from Rigor Circle during your opponent's turn, cost Soul Blast 1. Choose a grade 3 card from your drop other than Heavenly Slice of Calmness, Heathcote, and put it into your hand. This is just good for Cater Sanctuary. As an overall, each and every right line can use this. Of course, not particularly for the first skill, but the second skill is actually quite decent. You're able to recycle Personal Rights or any attacker from the drop to your hand. The best example here will be Bastion Prime. Bastion Prime needs to discard Bastion, either the grade 3 or the grade 4 from your hand or Soul Blast. So you are able to basically recycle that card from the drop zone into your hand, provided if your opponent does retire this card. Speaking of needs to be retired by your opponent, this skill is basically depends on whatever your opponent is doing. So as an overall, I don't think cards that needs to depend on your opponent to retire to basically trigger effect is good. But then again, there are a lot of cards that basically force your opponent to activate skills. For example, Gravidia is a mandatory retire. Should the meteor order from the order zone get moves to the drop zone, that is a mandatory retire. Yeah, if you go against that matchup, yeah, Heathcote is basically a really good, like, kind of recycle your hand kind of card. It's actually not too bad, but it's only against certain matchup. It's actually one of the better cards in this set for Cater Sanctuary. And yeah, he's generic, like really good generic. Probably should consider run like 1 or 2, but then again, space is literally very tight as is. So yeah, really good card, but sadly it's a bit funky. Moving on to Stoicheia, Sylvan Hornbeast Armadi. Auto Rigor Circle. When your other unit attacks from the back row, cost Counterblast 1 and put this unit into your soul. And that attacking unit gets 10k power until the end of that battle. This is most probably going to be support for Magnolia. It powers up any cards that attacks from the back row, which at the moment, I think it's only Magnolia is the one that is able to give your back row to be attacked from the back row. So most likely that. You're able to power up any one of them. Depends on when you want to trigger Armadi's skill. And what's more, Armadi does gives you that 1 soul, which is not too bad. Powers up as well as giving you a soul. Yeah, sign me up for this card. And what's more, should you keep rewriting Magnolia Outer, you're able to recycle Armadi out from the soul, because Magnolia does call something from the soul whenever you write Magnolia Outer. But then again, if you want to do that, you're basically competing against Inlet Pulse Dragon, which is the Flagberg Dragon. Yeah, because one does gives you a draw, the other one basically gives you more power, but one causes 1 counterblast, the other one is basically free. So it's basically depends on what situation you're in. You're able to choose either Armadi or Inlet Pulse Dragon, but then Armadi does not really straight up replace Inlet Pulse, because I still think Inlet Pulse is quite a decent target to be called from the soul. But yeah, it all comes down to whatever scenario you're in. And speaking of which, you're able to get more value out of Armadi from the 10k power if you do give the power to Gunnosla that will be attacking from the back row. Because Gunnosla could transfer whatever power that he has to another unit is what makes these two combo really scary. Because as we all know, Gunnosla is just gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because why the hell not? You're most probably gonna pump all of your triggers to Gunnosla. So yeah, and Gunnosla can just like transfer all of those power to another unit. Yeah, it's very disgusting. So yeah, that is the triple R from Magnolia. It's actually not too bad if you ask me. It works well with the other support for Magnolia. Do pick it up if you're playing Magnolia. Next is Maid of Thirst, one of the double R's for Zorga. Auto Rhaegar Circle. When this unit attacks, discard an order card from your hand and this unit gets 10k power until the end of that battle. Yeah, skip. Just skip. This is so bad. Well, yeah, skip. And of course, we do have Flagberg PR card. And we all thought Bushiroad forgets about Flagberg. I mean, there's still Barrow Magnus, Eugene, as well as Hexaorb. But whatever. Blue Vast Dragon Shelling Cannon Dragon. Auto back row center rearguard. At the beginning of your battle phase, if your Vanguard is Flagship Dragon, Flagberg Dragon, and your opponent's Vanguard is Great Trio Greater, cast Counterblast 1. Until the end of turn, this unit can attack from the back row and gets 10k power. Second skill, continuous back row center rearguard circle. When you would move or swap this unit during your main phase, you can move it within the same row. This card does help squeeze out more attacks to basically helps you achieve the 5th attack requirement to activate Flagberg's skill. Because we all know Flagberg does needs that attack count before he attacks to basically activate the full effect. Although in the early to mid game, by the time you ride into Flagberg Dragon, you don't necessarily have to go until the 5th attack, unless of course your opponent is at high damage. Then there's a difference. You're able to move this unit to the front row as well as the back row is actually really nice. I mean, you can just basically swap one of the great ones on the left or right rearguard circle, and then you just basically give the booster to Flagberg Dragon, which is not too bad. It's not really what Flagberg needed, but I think you should be picking this card up. Although I did say it's a nice pickup, but I think it's at this point, after seeing it again, yeah, I think this is a mandatory pickup if you are playing Flagberg Dragon. This card is insane and does helps boost up Flagberg Dragon. Lastly, we have Gravidia Maruto. Are we getting Sasuke? Auto Rearguard Circle. When this unit attacks, choose up to one meteorite card from your hand and put it into your order zone. If you put a card, this unit gets 5k until the end of that turn. Skip. There's nothing more to say. This card is probably not gonna be in Gravidia deck anytime soon. Yeah. Gravidia. And that is all for week 3. We're almost there, and I think by next week should be the final week, unless of course they surprise us with even more cards, for example like the Cater Sanctuary. Do like and subscribe if you like this video, and of course ring the bell notification icon so that you don't miss a video I upload. With that being said, I'll see you all on the field.